Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. We're in my living room today. It's too cold in the yoga room. All right. If you're joining, if you've got a couple of blocks, bring them into the practice today. If you don't have a couple of blocks, it might be helpful to have a chair nearby. Even a kid's chair will work. Just something to prop up your hands. We are going to be doing some postures that might require a little bit of assistance today. And so far, the only classes that I've really done on Facebook Live have been the sloth mode restorative. And just in case anybody missed the last class that I taught, this week's going to be a little bit different. This one's going to be more of an energizing flow practice. It will still be accessible if you are a beginner. Don't worry, you can join. I will always offer, in every class that I teach, I will offer modifications to bump it up a notch or to tone it down a notch. So don't shy away if you're just checking in and hearing that. But let's go ahead and get started. We're going to come on to reclined on the back. So find your way, and I'm going to grab my coffee because I was up way too late last night. All right, so find your way to your back. Make sure as you're coming down, you're honoring the body, finding as much space in the vertebrae as possible. And coming all the way to the spine, walk those shoulders away from the ears, let the palms rest facing upward alongside the hips. And just be here. So really starting to let go of tension in the body. If you're finding with the knees just straight overhead that it's tough to kind of remain there, then heel to the feet out to the width of the mat, or even a little closer, and let those knees rest in together. Exhale, we're going to peel those heels off the floor, walk the feet closer to the sit bones, and just draw those knees into the belly, rocking side to side if that feels good to you this morning, or maybe it's stillness, right? Whatever the body is calling for, try to honor that. And it's all right if the knees want to splay out wide, if that feels good, just to kind of open the legs a little bit, get a little bit of openness in the inner thighs. And just be here with the next couple of breaths, letting everything go. And as you exhale, release both feet to the width of the mat. We're going to take those arms out wide like the letter T. Tuck those wings or the shoulder blades just underneath you again. And on an exhale, take both knees off to the right. Gaze will move over your left shoulder. Once you're here, try scooping the tailbone under just a little bit, like you're pressing the pubic bone up to the sky. Pressing into the inner edge of the left foot, and take a couple of breaths. Just starting to wake up that front hip flexor. And really allow the belly to billow out into, as the breath enters the body. So really billowing that belly out, and this will just intensify that openness in the front of the left hip. And next, exhale, we're going to take the gaze over right shoulder. Knees move off to the left. Give yourself a few breaths here, and then we'll sort of scoop the tailbone under, press into that inner right foot a little bit more. And as you exhale, bring it back to center. We're going to go ahead and scoop the tailbone under, right straight off the bat. Just scooping that tailbone under. Come rising into your bridge pose. You can bring those arms underneath you and interlace the fingers, getting a good stretch across the front of the chest, shoulders, reaching those knuckles towards the heels. You want to make sure that your knees are stacked above your ankles here, and make sure that those knees aren't dropping out wide. You want to kind of keep the knees in line with your hip points. Now, if this is too much in the arms, just let those arms splay out wide or palms down alongside the hips. On an exhale, let's peel those heels off the floor and see if we could get a little bit more lift out of those hips. Just scooping tailbone under to protect the low back. Take a couple breaths. And on your exhale, slowly lower it down, one vertebrae at a time. Hug the knees in. Excuse me. And maybe rock it side to side, massaging that sacrum. So the one really good thing about Urdhva Dhanurasana, which is upward facing bridge. Actually, I think I might be mixing it up. Anyways, ignore my Sanskrit. Upward facing bridge pose. We are coming into an inversion because the heart is below the hips, right? The head is below the heart in that position. There's also sort of a squeezing in the neck, in the thyroid, which sort of cuts off the circulation while we're in that lock. And then when you come out of it, all that oxygen-rich blood comes flowing into the thyroid, which helps us keep that hormonal balance in the body. All that, I like it. It's also really draining for the lymphatic system, which is part of what helps us to flush and cleanse and keep the body clean of impurities. All right. So on an exhale, we're going to hug those knees into center. Find some stillness. Let both knees drop off to the left. Right arm drops off to the right, and your left hand will be placed to the outside of the right knee. If you're feeling a lot of tension in the right hip here with the knees off to the left, you might want to take a block in between the legs and just kind of lighten the pressure or the tension for that right hip. Twists are really great. They aid in our digestion, kind of wringing out the intestines. For these next couple of breaths, allow the inhales to draw in a bit deeper. Breathing into every cell that makes up your being. And with your next exhale, hug the right knee in the belly, then the left, roll off to spine. Just have a couple breaths here, hugging those knees into chest. And on an exhale, go ahead and let those knees drop off to the right. Right hand, ouch. All right, that's good. Right hand to the outside of the left knee, left arm out wide. Gaze moves over left shoulder. And allowing the breath to sort of unravel the tension. I often think about, like a ball of yarn. It's not too tightly wound, but it's wrapped up in one of those wrappers that they come with. I don't know if anybody ever deals with yarn. But when you take off the wrapper for the yarn, sometimes it starts to kind of unravel because there's no tension restraining it. And as you take your breaths in especially in a restorative posture, where there isn't much effort required, It's really easy to notice, hey, with each exhale, I'm sort of softening into this. And you might notice it as a sensation of softening around the inhale. And one more big fat Buddha belly breath. As you exhale, bring the left knee and then the right into the belly. Take a nice little squeeze, rock those knees back and forth, left to right. And on your next exhale, we're going to go ahead and roll off to one side or the other and make our way right into hands and knees. So coming on to hands and knees, we want to make sure that we've got our wrists, elbows, and shoulders stacked up in a straight line. Knees are just underneath the hip points. And we want to find a straight line with the spine to begin. Widen through all 10 fingers. Feel the belly button drawing into the front of the spine. Feel the crown of the head reaching forward and the sit bones reaching back. Take a big breath in. Feel how the belly sort of expands. The belly moves outward. The ribs move outward. The whole thorax expands. And with each exhale, feel the belly button gently draw in to support the spine. On an inhale, lift your sit bones up, arching the spine. Keep the belly button engaged. We're going to tuck those toes. And on your exhale, we're going to come back into a bent knee down dog. So keep those knees bent. Belly is resting towards the top thighs. Lift up through the bottom. Press away into those hands, allowing the shoulders to gently drop down the back. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, bring those knees right back down. We're going to inhale back into our cow. Tops the feet to the mat. And as you exhale, go ahead and tuck the tailbone, find your cat. You can press away into the fingers and just really draw that chin towards pubic bone, deepening the stretch across the back body. And then inhale to arch the spine. As you exhale, tuck the tailbone, come into that cat. Take it as deep as you'd like. So if you're not feeling, that you need a deep, deep stretch this morning, that's okay. You can just kind of get a little mild stretch in there. And maybe rocking those hips side to side, kind of wagging the tail. Right ear towards right hip, left ear towards left hip. And we're keeping that cat-like spine. And on an inhale, coming to center, arching the spine. You can wag your tail here again. And just feeling through the side body, feeling through those hips, the neck, wherever you feel this. And on your exhale, tuck those toes. Make your way back into downward facing dog. You're going to take a couple of breaths here. In your downward facing dog, your heels do not have to touch the floor. That's a common misconception. Yes, our heels are reaching towards the floor, but if that's too intense for your hamstrings, you don't have to have the heels on the floor. You can even bend the knees here. So first, in your downward dog, you want to find that lift in the bum, the lift in the sit bones, and you want to find that length in the spine. And then once you find that, and it's not too hard to get into that place, then you could start to work the heels towards the mat. But the moment those sit bones drop, lift those heels up, lift the bottom. Couple more breaths here. Big fat Buddha belly breaths. Really allowing the breath to kind of come all the way from the crown of the head down the length of the spine into the tips of the toes. And on an exhale, we're going to roll to the top of our plank. Tuck the chin under, tuck the tailbone, roll like an ocean wave. Always reminds me of that Jane's Addiction song, Ocean Size. Take a big breath in at the top of your plank. And as you exhale, we're going to hug those elbows, lowering all the way down to the mat through our chaturanga. As you inhale, squeeze those elbows in towards the midline, float the heart up. Try to keep the neck in line with the rest of the spine. Tops of feet are down, pressing back through the toes. There's kind of a tendency to squeeze the butt here. Try to relax your glutes just a little bit. If it's tough to do, try turning the toes in for a moment, just to remind the muscles how to relax. Hi, no, the camera's on and you need a shirt on, please. If you're gonna come over here, you need to go get a shirt on. Thank you, I love you. Happy New Year, babe. On an exhale, we're gonna press.
Happy New Year still?
It is, it's a Happy New Year day. Press into the hands and come back into your child's pose. And just be with your breath here. So let everything go. That's one of the key components, in my opinion, to the practice is when we come from a posture that may be a little bit challenging in one way or another, and we transition into something that's very restful and restorative, is being able to let go of that effort. And in finding the balance between effort and surrender, just as in life, sometimes we have to put on our warrior cap and we have to just barrel through something. And other times we need to find that balance between the two. And other times it's time to just soften and let go. So it's the same with the practice and being able to kind of smoothly transition from one energy, if you will, to the other is extremely beneficial. It also helps us in life, right? So like if you come up against a stressful moment, you can quickly and easily bring yourself from that type A stressed out place into a more serene, calm, cool, and collect place. And the practice can help with that. All right, so on your exhale, we're gonna roll through our cat. Inhale to arch the spine. Exhale to tuck those toes, come back into downward dog. On your next exhale, we're going to gaze at this space in between the thumbs. Rock the weight forward into the balls of the feet. Bend those knees. You can walk or step or jump those feet forward and inhale halfway up into your Ardha Uttanasana. We want the weight in the balls of the feet. Hands can be to the shins, or you can use blocks here if you'd like. Or if you have a low table or chair, or even if you need to be up on the countertop, that's perfectly fine. Now that we're not on my back, I can put my hair on my face again. All right. Ardha Uttanasana. Extended forward fold, hands to shins or blocks or wherever they are. Nice long spine, belly is active. On your exhale, just let everything spill. Belly, heart, head. Dangle over the thighs. On your next inhale, let's reverse swan dive. Activate the belly here. So arms reach out wide. We're going to come all the way up to a mountain. As you exhale, scoop the tailbone under. We're going to come into a little baby back bend, reaching those thumbs back. Keep your belly active here, supporting the spine. Big breath in. Exhale to swan dive forward. Uttanasana. Inhale halfway up. On your exhale, walk, step, or jump both feet back into your plank. Take a big breath in and roll to the outside of the right foot. We're going to sweep this left arm across the chest and reach overhead. On your exhale, reach the left arm in the same direction as the crown of your head. Inhale back to side plank. Exhale back to plank. Take a big breath in and exhale through your chaturanga. Inhaling this time into cobra or your upward facing dog. Exhale into your downward facing dog. Next, exhale, rock the weight forward into the balls of the feet. Bend those knees, step or jump both feet forward and inhale halfway up. Exhale to spill, belly, heart, head. Inhale, reverse swan dive, active belly, all the way up. As you exhale, scoop that tailbone under. Big breath in here. Opening up to life on life's terms, like a badass. You are here, you are present, you're ready to take things on. Exhale to swan dive forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up. So sometimes you might see me in my Uttanasana, I will draw my chin under. And what this does is this just kind of, I don't know, I feel like it creates an energy lock. think I might have read that somewhere too. But from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head, we feel this gorgeous stretch. Inhale halfway up. As you exhale, plant those hands, widen through all 10 fingers, really root down through the palms. And as you exhale, step, walk, or jump, both feet back. Big breath in. We're going to roll to the outside of the left foot, sweeping right arm across the chest, reaching it overhead. As you exhale, press right hip up towards the sky. Reach those fingertips in the same direction as the crown of the head. And I'm a banana. Banana stretch. So take a big breath here. And as you exhale, bring that right hand back down to the mat. Take a big breath in. We're going to move through the flow again on the exhale. So elbows hugging in through chaturanga. Inhaling into your upward dog or cobra. Cobra's totally fine. So if your lower back's like, hey, I don't know about up dog today, then don't do it. Exhale into your downward dog. Starting to feel a little energy flowing. And sometimes I like to just hang out in my downward dog and kind of pulse the legs a little bit, or pedal the legs, or come into twisted dog. So take that time here. And on your next exhale, rock the weight forward into balls of feet. We're going to bend those knees and step, walk, or jump both feet forward. Inhale halfway up. Exhale to dangle. Inhale, we're going to take the arms out wide, rise halfway up. Interlace those fingers back behind you, and then press back through the knuckles to glide those shoulders down the back. Next, exhale, dangle spine. Let the arms dangle too. Once gravity's kind of got a hold of those arms here, try drawing those shoulders away from the ears, down the back. Inhale halfway up. As you exhale, we're going to sit down into chair. Inhale to sweep those arms overhead. Sit down nice and deep. Belly button draws into the front of spine to support it. On an exhale, bring those hands down to prayer. Shift your weight into the right foot. We're going to float left foot right back into our warrior three. Try to keep those hips facing the mat, so in the same line. On exhale, plant that left foot down. We're going to inhale the arms overhead, rising into our crescent lunge. On exhale, hands come down to prayer. We're going to take left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Keep right knee moving towards pinky toe side of the right foot. Find your gaze just above the right toes. And as you exhale, shift the weight into the right foot. We're going to float the left foot forward to meet the right. Sit down into your chair. Take some nice big Buddha belly breaths here. Nice cycles of breath. Big breath in and letting go on the exhale. Stay in that chair with a twist. Two more breaths here. You've got this. And on your next inhale, we're going to rise back into the chair. Exhale to shoot to standing and swan dive right forward. Uttanasana. Inhale halfway up. Exhale to spill belly, heart, head. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. As you exhale, scoop that tailbone under. Breathe into a little baby back bend. Belly is active here. Exhale to swan dive forward. Plant those hands. Inhale halfway up. As you exhale, walk, step, or jump both feet back into your plank. Take a big breath in here. And exhale through chaturanga. Inhaling into your cobra or up dog. Exhale back into your downward facing dog. Next exhale, rock that weight forward into the balls of the feet. We're going to walk, step, jump those feet forward. Inhale, halfway up. As you exhale, dangle. Inhale, halfway up. As you exhale, we're going to take those hands back behind us, interlace the fingers, and dangle the spine. Inhale, halfway up. Pressing back through knuckles. Exhale to dangle. Just keep those shoulders gliding away from the ears as gravity helps to release these arms towards the mat. Next, inhale, lengthen spine. As you exhale, sit down into your chair. Sweep those arms overhead. Big breath in. On exhale, bring hands down to prayer. We're going to shift the weight into the left foot and extend right foot back. Come through warrior three, standing on the left leg. And exhale to bring right foot, whoop, almost fell. Right foot back into your crescent lunge. Inhale to rise on up. Relax those shoulders down. Scoop the tailbone under, lift up through heart. And exhale, hands down through prayer. Right elbow, outer left knee. Keep sinking the left knee towards pinky toe side, even though that right elbow kind of presses it towards midline. Keep letting that left knee sink out and swing tailbone in line with inner seam of right thigh. I like to take my gaze above the front toes. And on an exhale, float the right foot alongside the left. Sit down a little bit deeper into your Utkatasana, or chair with a twist. Three more cycles of breath here. Really letting go with each exhale, each inhale, nourishing the body, finding length. And on your next inhale, sweep those arms overhead. Exhale to shoot to standing, bring those hands to prayer. Take a few breaths here. On your inhale, reach the arms overhead. As you exhale, scoop the tailbone under, drop shoulders away from ears. Big breath in. And exhale to swan dive forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. As you exhale, plant just the fingertips to the mat or hands to blocks, wherever you are is beautiful to be. And inhale to sweep left leg up and back. Reach back through those toes. Press into the ball of the foot, finding a yogi point. And on an exhale, bend the right knee. Plant the left foot back. We're going to straighten out the right leg. So this might be pretty intense. You're more than welcome to bring blocks into this, right? And you're more than welcome to walk that back foot forward a tiny bit if you need. So just check in with what you need. Find length through the spine. Keep that right inner ball of the foot grounded. And next exhale, bend right knee. We're going to inhale the arms overhead. And exhale, hands down through prayer. Shift your weight into the right foot, floating right into warrior three. Big breath in here. As you exhale, right arm forward, left arm back. Grab a hold of the left ankle, bending the left knee, come into King Dancer. 3 breaths here. As you exhale, hands to prayer, left foot to the inner right thigh, find your tree pose. Inhale the arms overhead. As you exhale, we're going to float back through extended warrior 3, planting the left foot back into warrior 1. So you inhale, elbows bend out, open up the heart, scoop tailbone under, warrior 1. Exhale to release those hands, spill belly, heart, head. Inhale, rising up. And exhale into your warrior 2. Inhale to reverse your warrior. And exhale to windmill both hands to the inside of the right foot. Turn all 10 toes halfway to the left. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale to dangle. Your choice of the arms here, maybe to reach the arms overhead, out in front of you, maybe reach the arms to the legs, maybe reach the arms through the legs. With your next inhale, lengthen the spine forward. As you exhale, you're going to turn all 10 toes to face the front of the mat again. Bring those hands straddling the right foot. We're going to step the left foot forward to meet the right and inhale halfway up. On your exhale, dangle the spine. Belly, heart, head, spill. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up, reaching those arms overhead. As you exhale, bring the hands down to prayer. Find your mountain pose. On your next inhale, reach those arms overhead. Scoop the tailbone under, lift up through heart. As you exhale, swan dive forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. As you exhale, plant your hands, walk, step, or jump the feet back. So if it's tough to get the hands to the mat for preparing for your plank pose or chaturanga, and you're in the forward fold and your hamstrings are like, I'm shaking, you need blocks. All of that is all good, first off. Don't feel like you're less of a yoga practitioner just because your hands aren't on the floor, or you don't look like you're on Yoga Journal. Forget all that. That is not what this practice is about. Hands can come to the mat, widen through all 10 fingers. You can bend those knees to get yourself there. And then to come back into plank, I always offer walk, step, or jump. So you can kind of walk it back and find your plank. And maybe your plank's on your knees, right? It's all good. No big deal. And maybe you're, taking one step at a time back into plank. I really like that because it brings us into a lunge on the way, which are really amazing for our hips. Or maybe you're jumping. If you're jumping, you're working on not just landing hella hard with the toes at the back of the mat. Because it's easy to do, right? So if you're coming back, you kind of almost want to prepare for a press handstand. Even if you're not quite there yet into the handstand, you want to think of it the same way, to where you're not just like, bam, launching yourself back. All right, but come back into your plank one way or the other. Take a big breath in. Exhale through chaturanga. Inhale into your upward dog or cobra. Exhale back into your downward facing dog. Next exhale, walk, step, or jump those feet forward. Inhale halfway up. We're going to plant those hands to blocks or wherever they need to be. You're going to inhale the left leg up and back. Exhale, bending right knee, plant that left foot. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands down through prayer. Shift your weight into, how did we end up on the right foot? Did we do the left side last time? I think I didn't do the other side. So, I'm sorry. You're going to come right foot back into your lunge. Hands come down to prayer. And on an exhale, shift your weight into that left foot for warrior 3. As you exhale, bend right knee into the nose. Bring that right foot to the inner left thigh. Another thing I have to say about this one, the foot doesn't have to be on the thigh. Your foot can be all the way down to the floor in your tree pose. So please don't feel like you have to hike that hip up and get all uncomfortable in the lower back to accomplish bringing that foot to the thigh, right? It can even be down by the knee, but the only thing with the knee is if you're at the knee, make sure that your heel isn't pressing to the kneecap, because that can be injurious to the knee. From your tree pose, inhale those arms overhead like branches reaching for a sun. As you exhale, we're going to float the right foot back through Warrior 3, extended. As you exhale, plant the right foot back into Warrior 1. Inhale, opening up the heart, sink that left knee towards pinky toe side, pubic bone to navel. Open up the heart, let those arms trail down the back, legs, shoulders glide down the back. As you exhale, spill belly, heart, head. Inhale, rising up. And exhale, Warrior 2. Inhale to reverse your warrior. As you exhale, windmill. Both hands to the inside of the left foot. I know what I forgot. We're going to turn the back toes in a little bit and set up for not quite revolved triangle pose. It's somewhere in between there. You can use blocks here if you need. Just getting a nice stretch through the back of the left leg. And on exhale, go ahead and bend that left knee. We're going to turn all 10 toes halfway to the right. I'm going to turn the other direction just because I have this thing about having my booty face the camera for too long. And then we're going to inhale nice and long. Exhale to dangle. So this one can be really detoxing as well. Simply because, again, it's an inversion. Your head's below your heart. Which this helps with the lymphatic system, drainage. This helps to kind of bring some ease into the heart. The heart doesn't have to pump so hard. This also sort of brings out the belly a little bit, gentle massage for the intestines. And wherever you'd like to be with the arms is totally good. You can bring the hands to the ankles. You can reach the arms out in front of you. Bring those hands back in between the legs or interlace the fingers. Now, if your head reaches the floor, we're not going upside down right now. We're not going to go into a headstand from here. I know I teach that a lot, but today we are going to bring those feet in a little bit closer so that the spine and the head can kind of hang freely. And whatever we've got going on with the arms, let's kind of bring a little swing into it with the torso. And on an exhale, find your stillness. Inhale to lengthen that heart forward. We're going to walk both hands off to the left and then just kind of hang the heart. And exhale back to center. Take a breath in. Wrists, elbows, and shoulders stack up. Nice long spine. And exhale off to the right. And exhale back to center. Inhale, nice long spine. as you exhale, we're going to go ahead and heel toe those feet in. You want the feet about the width of the mat. So if you'd like, you can kind of turn back the other direction on your mat. Having those feet to the width of the mat, no wider, so not turning off the toes, but just feet right alongside the outer edges. We're going to go ahead and, from our forward fold, squat down into our deep yogic squat. And find those hands at prayer position at the heart. Lift up through the heart. Let those shoulders gently retract towards one another. So we're using the rhomboids to help lift up through heart, to help keep the shoulders away from the ears. Let the weight drop back into the heels and into the bottom. And let's take some big fat Buddha belly breaths here. On an exhale, bring those hands back to the mat. Turn those toes in slightly, dangle the spine. Inhale, nice long spine. As you exhale, we're going to heel toe these feet in just a little bit. Squat those thighs parallel. Inhale to rise up into your chair. So the thighs are kind of parallel to the mat. We're going to take the right elbow out to the outer left knee and then inhale your left arm overhead. I don't want the thighs touching here, I don't want the knees touching here. So just get those thighs and knees parallel. You kind of want the heels underneath the hips or underneath the knees really. And kind of in line with where the hips are. So lengthening your spine with each inhale, each exhale, allowing the belly button to draw back and support the spine. Try to keep those knees in line. 2 more breaths. And then exhale, we're going to come right back into a squat and just dangle the spine. Feet are a little closer together than I normally would practice in a squat, but it works well for this little practice. And make some noise, right? Like, we're not here on this planet to be perfect. It's a hot mess when you grow. It's a hot mess when you struggle. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and I want you to just give yourself permission, even if you're not by yourself at home practicing. Find a private place and make noise. Take a big breath and as you exhale, just let everything out. We carry around so much shit with us, so much garbage that we don't need, that no longer serves us. Maybe at one point it taught us a lesson, but now we carry this pain around like it's a little baby. And it's time. It's so time to just let it go and to feel it and to say out loud, hey, I've had trauma, or I've been hurt, or I've experienced this, and I'm still here. So that's my take on the matter. It's important that we're real with ourselves, and if that means doing something that's strange to feel okay, do whatever you want, as long as you're not hurting somebody else. All right. Next, inhale, grow that spine nice and tall. As you exhale, we're going to come sitting down into a sort of a chair, and then take your left forearm to the outside of the right knee, still sitting down nice and deep into the hips. Inhale that right arm overhead. Sit down a little deeper if you can. So just a hit, this one can transition into, feet together, knees together, and bringing the hands all the way down, and this can even transition into side crane. So finding that length of spine and really being able to kind of twist it to where the right shoulder is stacked in the same line as the left. This will help us as we come into more challenging postures. This is also wringing out the intestines. Giving a gentle massage to kidneys, liver, sorry, yeah, kidneys, liver. I always want to think liver. There's two of them, but there's two kidneys. I should know that by now. All right, and exhale. Just come right back to center. Let the knees drop out. Reach those arms out in front of you. Angle the spine. And here it is. Let the weird noises out. Big breath in. Another big breath in. And letting it all out. And sometimes it's a scream. And sometimes it's a sigh. And sometimes it's just a soft breath. And it's okay. Wherever you are today, whatever's going on in your life, allow your body to help you express it, feel it, and let it go. On your exhale, slowly lower the bottom down to the floor. Bring the soles of the feet together. Knees are apart. So if you find it's tough to sit up nice and tall here, if you're feeling a lot of tension in the lower back, or you kind of sit down and you're kind of like, I need to put my hands behind me so I can sit up tall. That is when you want to incorporate a blanket or even a block into your practice. Just something, maybe, 3-4 inches, something like that. I've never been good at telling inches. I wonder why. We're going to bring those sit bones to a blanket if we need it. If you don't need it, it's all good. You don't need it. If you're comfortable, you don't need it. And that's kind of the rule for me. Rule of thumb is if it hurts, you're doing it wrong. There is no wrong, right? Of course, if you're in a class and a teacher's got a whole practice planned out and she's like, we're going to do this to build up to that, and that's going to prepare the body. And we're over here modifying the posture in a different way. She might say, hey, that's kind of not what we're doing today. Or he might say. But ultimately, when it comes to your practice, when it comes to the way that you move your body, that is up to you. And if what you're doing is not injurious, if it's not hurting you, if it's helping you, if it makes you feel better in your own body, that's what this asana practice is all about. It's finding comfort in the body, finding peace in the body, so that we can start to find peace in the mind, so that we can find peace within the self, so that we can create peace in this world. Oh, I love it. All right, peace fingers to your big toes. And we're just going to bring the soles of the feet together and kind of just start flapping the legs. The belly's gently activating here to help support the spine. Relax your shoulders away from the ears. If you're one of those that tends to scrunch those shoulders up and it's really tough for you to remind yourself to relax, then just kind of roll through the shoulders for a few breaths. Maybe even the neck. And just keep in mind that you're gliding those shoulders down the back. But here we'll just begin flapping those legs, finding a little bit more ease here. If you begin to feel the head bobbling, if the body is feeling this urge to kind of sway with it, go for it. Fluidity. Fluidity. It sounds so funny. Fluidity. I went to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm so tired. Okay. Mom, are you coming out here? Oh, beautiful. You can come over here and do yoga if you want. You put it on there all by yourself? Wow. Good job. A few more breaths here. Come sit. And on an exhale, let's find a little bit of stillness. Just stop moving the legs. Take some big fat breaths in. Every exhale, that narrowing of the larynx. Slight hissing at the back of the throat. bones and float those feet off of the floor. Now here, you're going to want to keep your spine straight. So one thing that tends to happen is once we find the balance on the sit bones and pull those feet off the floor, I often automatically see this, where the spine curves up. And I mean, I remember when I first started practicing, or when I first started practicing this posture, I think that same thing happened to me, and it was a lot of work to get the heart lifted. So I'd have to, while working on all those different things in the posture, or what's the word I'm looking for? Alignments of the posture, I'd get wobbly and I'd fall out. So find first this lift, and sometimes it's helpful to kind of fold over the legs, just open up the inner thighs a little bit more. And then exhale, floating back to the sit bones. You'll find those legs extended out as wide as they'll go. And it's okay if the knees stay bent. It's okay if the feet are really close to the floor, just hovering there in case you're ready to fall. As you exhale, bring those legs together. Even if the knees are slightly bent, that's okay. And we're just going to take the hands around the backs of the calves if we can. If not, maybe a strap, a yoga strap. And we're just going to use those arms to draw those legs a little bit closer. Work on keeping that spine nice and long. Take a big breath in. And exhale to release those feet back to the mat. We're going to come into our cosmic egg. So just wrapping those arms around the shins. Tuck the chin under. If your forehead can reach I actually can't think today. If your forehead reaches the knees, awesome. If not, awesome too. So just let the head hang. And from here, on your exhale, we'll go ahead and float the weight back into the sit bones. Curve the spine like the letter C, cute mama, and roll all the way back. You're going to kick the legs back and then come back towards your cosmic egg. Kick the legs back towards plow and come back towards your cosmic egg. And rolling back. One last time towards that plow pose. Lowering all the way down, one vertebrae at a time, all the way back to the spine. Release your feet flat onto the floor. Give yourself a few breaths here. Maybe you rock those knees gently from side to side, feet to the width of the mat. And whenever you're ready, we'll extend one foot at a time to each corner of the mat. Make sure that your hips are set. So if you're feeling any compression in the low back, you may want to bring those feet back flat on the floor. Reset the hips, tuck the shoulders under, and then re-extend the legs. If the legs extended is pulling on the low back, bring a bolster or a pillow or whatever you have available. A blanket's fine. I don't know where I put my blanket. And then you'll place it right underneath the knees just to kind of lighten the pull on the low back. And if you find that your mind is really busy and full of chatter, or your physical body is full of tension or kind of angst, take a deep breath in and hold it. Tighten up the fists, scrunch up the glutes, flex the feet. Tight quads, the face is all scrunched up. We're going to hold that breath in. And as you exhale, let it all fall away. Allow everything to just settle down. Allow the face to soften, the eyes to sink back and down. Allow the tension in the shoulders, neck and jaw to just slowly drip and sink into the earth beneath you. Allow the next few breaths to draw all the way into the tips of your toes. And over these next few breaths, allow fingers and toes to move ever so slightly. Taking your time, and when you're ready, we'll make our way off to one side or the other. And at some point, use the strength of your arms to press on up to seated. Coming to your seated position, let's take a few breaths here, just honoring our life, honoring the life around us. Remember, nothing's perfect. And we're just here to kind of experience it all. So when you find that the mind is filled with chatter, or you're overwhelmed with things that need to be done or things that are happening in your life, just remember that nothing is permanent. Everything changes. This too shall pass. And the breath is always right here for you. Let's bring those hands to prayer position when you're ready. Take a couple more breaths here. Thank you for practicing with me. Happy New Year. Namaste. Happy New Year!